Real estate investors are familiar with the 1% rule. That is, for a rental property, if the ratio of monthly rent over sold price reach 1%, such property is a good deal. We call this ratio rent-to-price ratio. This ratio is an important metric in real estate investment hunting. What does Tampa Bay's area's rent-to-price ratio look like in recent market? This video will give you some answer. Hello, this is Albert. If you watch my video for the first time, I'm a Florida realtor and real estate investor. At the same time, I'm also a data scientist with more than 10 years of advanced analytics experience. I apply big data and statistical analysis approaches to help my clients and friends to succeed in real estate hunting and transactions. Besides, in my channel, I will also periodically talk about lifestyle and fun things to do in Florida. Real estate is not just about buying a house. It will bring you more than the property you acquire. Lifestyle, the quality, the characteristics of the area, the people, the fun, the taste of every day and enjoyment, etc. We're all blessed to living in such a beautiful place. Let's get started. In my last video, I showed the closed transaction data through the end of June for some of the areas in Tampa Bay. In this video, I will also take a look at the similar areas. I'm gonna look at 1. West Chase, Citrus Park, Carrollwood. 2. Odessa, Lutz, Lando Lakes. 3. West Chapel. 4. Palm Harbor, Oldsmar, Dunedin, Clearwater. Except for the fourth area, I have briefly described those other areas in my last video. So, if you are not familiar with those areas, you can watch that video to know more about them. Regarding Palm Harbor, Oldsmar, Dunedin, Clearwater, these areas are closer to the beach and tourism spot. They are also close to US 19 and Costco in Clearwater, convenient for daily life, work, and vacation. Very good locations. I need to emphasize that my videos do not show all the areas in Tampa Bay. The areas I show here are part of my interested areas and just for illustration purpose. If you have interest location that my videos did not cover, you can reach out to me. I can represent you, help you analyze, and do the search and transaction. For this video, my analysis still focuses on 3 to 4 beds properties. The properties were rented out by agents in recent half year, and the properties was rented right after sold by agents. The data was collected on the 20th of July. Let's first take a look at the overall picture of this area's rent-to-price ratio. For each of them, I calculate the average, minimum value, maximum value, and a range between minimum and maximum value. Clearly, the West Chase related areas and Palm Harbor related areas have the highest average rent-to-price ratio, reach 0.7%. Westerly Chapel lowest, 0.64%. The maximum value in the areas around Palm Harbor is even higher than 1%. Westerly Chapel's highest also reach around 1%. But as I look into those properties in Westerly Chapel, I realized that those were the new constructions booked early with low price. When the property closed, the rent already went up. Thus, the rent-to-price ratio was good. The maximum value in Odessa-related areas is also 1% as well. An interesting observation here, the range between the maximum and minimum value for West Chase-related areas is small. This indicates that the ratio here is stable, not much fluctuation. This area's investment return should be more robust. This is also a reflection of the key location features, such as very desirable location, low inventory, any property pops up should be gone fast. If we bucket the rent-to-price ratio into different intervals, we can tell more differences among these areas. For each area, I calculate the proportion of each ratio interval out of all records in that area. In this chart, the horizontal axis tells the rent-to-price ratio interval. The vertical axis tells the proportion that a given interval accounts for in that given area. The green-colored bar are West Chase-related areas. Red-colored bars are Wesley Chapels. Comparing these two areas under recent market condition, we can easily tell which one has better rent-to-price ratio in general. I need to emphasize that this is the recent market condition, but Wesley Chapel is a fast-growing area in Tampa Bay. So, if we vision for longer term, once more and more infrastructures, amenities, and businesses are developed in the future, I feel that the long-term investment return should be good. For example, years ago, the Costco location by I-75 had almost nothing there. I witnessed more and more shops pop up gradually, and so the communities around that area are hot location now. We can also take a look at the rent-to-price quantile distribution for these areas. In this chart, the horizontal axis is quantile position. The vertical axis is rent-to-price ratio. There is a slope among these bars. The steeper the slope, the more variation in the rent-to-price ratio. We can tell that West Chase-related areas have the smallest slope, thus least variation. All of these areas as top 25% position reach around 0.7 rent-to-price ratio or higher. Top 5% position reach 0.75% ratio or higher. In particular, Palm Harbor's top 5% had close to 1% rent-to-price ratio already. What differentiates high ratio properties and low ratio properties? Let me show you something. First, let me show you the relation between rent-to-price ratio and sold price, or property value. In this chart, the horizontal axis is rent-to-price ratio interval. Vertical axis is the average sold price. We can tell a general relationship here. That is, the lower the sold price, the higher the rent-to-price ratio, except for some noise in Palm Harbor-related areas. This makes sense, because it is hard for rent to go out too crazy as the property price go up to a certain level. For those big and very expensive properties, rent cannot be skyrocket accordingly. Otherwise, no one can lease the property. Therefore, to have decent cash flow, it is better to buy smaller size and not expensive properties. Let's also take a look at the relationship between the rent-to-price and year the property built. In this table, I calculate the median value of the property built year for every rent-to-price ratio interval. Lutz-related areas and Wesley Chapel-related areas have both new constructions and old properties. So, we can roughly tell that the properties with higher rent-to-price ratio tend to be older. There's almost no new construction in West Chase and Palm Harbor-related areas. So, it is hard to tell such a relationship. Similar to my previous video, let me illustrate one example for high rent-to-price ratio and low rent-to-price ratio, respectively. I am now in Stellar MLS. Let's take a look at this single-family house property located in Clearwater, built in 1973. Old property, small, just around 1,000 square foot. 3 beds, sold $250K. Rent $2,650 a month. Rent-to-price ratio larger than 1%. Outstanding. If I click into the pictures, I see very decent renovation, move-in ready, and the property is in a good location. So, not surprised that it has really good rent-to-price ratio. Let's take a look at another one. This is a lake view property. Really nice view and big. Sold $885K. Rent $4,000 a month. Rent-to-price ratio below 0.5%. The property was very expensive. Also, old property. As I click through the pictures, I see that the renovation is pretty good. This one is really good as a home, but for investment rental, the return rate is not attractive. Now that we've looked at the rent-to-price ratio, let's also take a look at the rent itself. This chart shows the monthly rent median values for the recent half year. We can tell that West Chase-related areas have the highest rent overall, and also the rent continues increasing. Wesley Chapel and Lutz-related area have increasing trend in general as well. Palm Harbor-related areas have some fluctuations. Last but not least, Let's also take a look at the closed transaction, sold price median value. Clearly, starting around June, the sold price showed downturn, which is a reflection of the Fed rate increase. I want to emphasize again, I pulled the data on the 20th of July, so the July closed transaction data is not completed. There might or might not be changes once the July is complete. Alright, these are all my analysis of rent-to-price ratio. I want to stress that the rent-to-price ratio is only one of many metrics that investors look at in real estate investment. Each investor has different investment goals, expectations, styles, and maybe a different investment milestones. So we cannot just simply look at this ratio to determine whether a property is good or not. Also, we need to consider the cost and expense to determine NOI, net return. What's your thought? Please comment below this video. If you like my video, please thumbs up and share. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you next time. Bye.